I'm Mungo Dark Matter and welcome to Dark Matters. Today on Dark Matters we're going to be discussing fabric pots. There are a couple of manufacturers of fabric pots. One of them is Smart Pots and the other one is Dirt Pot. And basically they make these pots out of fabric because there's several advantages to having a fabric pot. Big advantage is that roots do what's known as air pruning themselves. So when you have a plastic pot or a pot made out of ceramic, the roots tend to grow towards the side and then they'll curve around the side because the side is hard, they can't penetrate it. And this isn't real good for the root system, and the root system isn't as strong when it just keeps on curving around. With a fabric pot, the roots hit the edge, and because the edge is soft, they can actually grow through it. Now, what happens is the part of the root that grows through the fabric pot will dry out and actually air prune itself, or what's called air pruning, which is the end will dry out and basically fall off. So the roots don't actually keep on going out of the pot, they stop at the edge. However, the roots actually shoot out new starts in a better network of roots. So instead of curving around, they'll send out more, just like a tree will send out more branches as you prune it sometimes. So you end up with more roots and a stronger root system, and the roots don't curve around, so the roots are much stronger. Another advantage to fabric pots are that they regulate the heat a little bit better than, say, a plastic pot or a terracotta pot. They allow the roots to heat up a little bit better in the starting of the season, and when it gets really hot, they let the roots breathe better, so the roots don't get as hot. Whereas in a plastic pot, when it gets very hot outside, the roots can get very, very hot. Also, a plastic pot can insulate the roots a little bit from the warmth of the sun. It's very important that roots warm up. That's how a plant grows, or knows when to grow, is when the ground gets to a certain warmth. So by enabling the plant to get a little more warm in the beginning of the spring and a little less hot at the end of the spring, much better for the plant. The plant actually starts out a little faster, grows a little better. And you're supposed to need actually less soil, and I guess part of that is because there's more of a root system. And the root system is very important, so you can actually plant things in a little bit smaller pot, supposedly, and get the same results as you would in another, like, say, plastic pot that was bigger. So anyway, as I said, there are a couple brands. Smart Pot is one. This is kind of what Smart Pot looks like. You can see it's like a little cloth bag. It's a special cloth that they make for this purpose. It's very strong, very durable. You can reuse it, you can rewash it later. Like if you take the plant out, you can just take the soil out, let it dry out, brush it off, and apparently you can even throw them into the washer if you want it, you were so inclined. Here's a dirt pot. This is a bigger pot. They come in various sizes from both companies. These have very nice handles on some of the larger pots, and you can see the very sturdy handle on the dirt pot. This particular Smart Pot is kind of a smaller one. It doesn't really have handles on it, but some of the Smart Pots do have handles, but they tend to be kind of cutouts in the side, and the handles aren't quite as nice as the dirt pot handles, but they both work well, and really you don't need a handle so much on the smaller pots. It's nicer the larger the pot you get. Anyway, you might want to try out some fabric pots and see how they work for you. They've worked pretty well for me. I'll show you some plants that I've grown in fabric pots. You have to kind of work out what size pot you need for various things. It doesn't matter as much for something like a flower or ornamental plant, because it will kind of just grow to the size of the pot will allow it. But with like vegetables, you want to make sure that you have a large enough pot so that not only the plant grows well, but it has enough root system to produce a lot of fruit or vegetables, whatever you're growing. So that's something to experiment with. Supposedly you can use a slightly smaller fabric pot than you would, say, a plastic pot or plastic container if you were container gardening, because the roots spread out better because they don't curve around. But the bigger the pot, the better for vegetables, because it will give you, more growing medium, more roots, and more vegetable yield per pot. Here are some peppers that I have growing in fabric pots. And as you can see, this is what's called a marone pepper. It's doing really well. Over here is a bell pepper. It's doing very well too, as you can see by the size of it. This one has a couple of peppers on it. So the plants seem to be pretty healthy and growing pretty well. And these are, here I'm using actually Smart Pot fabric pots. I'm Mungo Dark Matter, and this has been Dark Matters. And whatever you do, enjoy gardening. What you want, what you want. Come on.